Hi, and welcome to another Godot tutorial, or a Godot and Blender tutorial, rather. And while this is going to be a standalone tutorial, it's also going to be part of a 3-video series. They will follow each other up. In the first video, we are going to make level blocks, the world blocks for your game in Blender. And these blocks in Blender, we're going to import them in Godot. We're going to create a mesh library of it, and then we're going to use the mesh library for the GridMap system. And in the second video, if you don't want to miss that out, make sure to subscribe. We are going to use the navigation region 3D to make it so that enemy characters can roam around the world, and they are basically aware of their surroundings, can pick different locations to walk to. Basically, enemy pathfinding. And in the third video, we're going to make it so that the enemy NPC can do something more than just patrolling, roaming the world. We're going to add player detection to it. Before we start, keep an eye on the pinned comment below, because I'm going to keep somewhat of a decent pace in this video. And whenever something needs some extra clarification or some extra tip, or I forgot something, I will put it in the pinned comment. All right, let's go. We're going to need a UV map texture first. You can obviously make your own UV map for the block, like I did for my game. But for the sake of this tutorial, I suggest you type in something around the lines of UV map, ground block, grass. You'll figure it out. But make sure to download a UV map that looks something like this one, which has like the side view, a top view. That's basically it. If you haven't downloaded Blender yet, make sure to download. It's free. After downloading and booting up Blender, make sure, as you always do, to delete the cursed starters block. Save your project to somewhere safe. I'm gonna call it tutorial block. And also put the file that you just downloaded in the same folder. All right, here we are. You're gonna press Shift A, which makes you able to add a mesh. And then we're gonna add a cube. This cube that we just deleted. Poor starters cube. If you drag this arrow right over here, whoop, the dimensions of this cube are 2 by 2 by 2. We're going to make it 1 by 1 by 1. But this is something you have to figure out yourself for your own game. Let's select the cube and go to material. Right over here, it's the red globe with the checker mark pattern. And we're going to click on new. Here, we're going to click on the yellow little dot, which is like in the base color property. And we're going to search for, and I have to remind myself, I should have really prepared this video, something with texture, image texture. Yeah, this one. Click open, select the texture that you just downloaded. Et voila, you applied your first texture. You don't see it yet because the viewport shading is still set to solid. If you select the second one, which is called material preview, you're going to see your texture on the block. Doesn't look quite right yet, don't you think? And that is because you have to UV map it first. Little disclaimer, I'm not really good at UV mapping. So let me know in the comments below what I should do better next time. So, I can also learn a thing or two. If you click on the UV editing tab right over here, you're going to see this nice texture on the left and your cube on the right. Now we're going to make it so that the faces, which is the shape in between all the vertices, we're going to select the side. We're going to do that by being in edit mode. I was a little bit quick there, but if you are in object mode, as we are now, you cannot select these sides. You cannot select a face. Select tab, so you switch over to edit mode, or you just use the drop down. And then we're going to click the third selection, is the face selection. If you have this one selected, you can select different faces. And again, I am not a UV map expert, so I've got no idea why this is not like a perfect rectangle, a square, because it's a cube, it's a 1 by 1 cube. And to fix that, we're gonna unwrap the UV map. Right mouse button on the face, go for UV unwrap faces, and click unwrap conformal. We now see a perfect square on the left side as well, which resembles the face that we just selected. It's way too big, as you can see. We're going to fix that by selecting all those 4 dots. You can also just click A to select all, whatever you prefer. And now we're going to select S to scale it down. So select S, make it smaller, 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 smaller. We're going to use G to reposition. Whoop. We can zoom in by scrolling, and you can hold scroll to move the window a bit. Let's make it a bit bigger again. And you know, it looks like a Minecraft block, but it's rotated for some reason. Again, make sure to select all the vertex points and press R to rotate. And you can hold Control so it snaps to specific degrees. And now we've got one side fixed. Again, there's probably a better way to do this, but you're watching my tutorial video, the noob edition of how to UV map. You can use the gizmo at the top right corner to go through all the different camera angles. And here at the left top corner, you can see the viewport angle. So this is the front. If I go to the right, you see the right, back, and so on. And if you got one of those big keyboards, you can also use the numbers on the numpad to just quickly swap through them. Now we're going to fix the top part. Make sure to unwrap it so it resembles the actual shape of the mesh by clicking UV unwrap, and we're going to go through the whole thing. I press A to select all the vertex points. I'm going to scale it down, use G. I just realized that this is the actual unwrapped texture, so this should have been here, but it doesn't really matter. All sides look the same anyway. Epic montage soundtrack starts now. Alright, we've got ourselves a Minecraft block. Isn't it pretty? One thing that I kind of forgot to tell you about is when you go to the material and you go in the material that we applied at the start of this video, you can also change this option where it says linear to closest. Make sure to have this on closest if you are working with pixel art. And while we are using a Minecraft texture, we're not gonna really create a Minecraft block. The blocks that we are creating are gonna have those rounded corners, like those bevels. We're gonna add those by going to modifiers. It's the little wrench icon, the blue one right over here. We're gonna search for add modifier. We're gonna search for bevel right over here. And you know, this already looks pretty cool. You can play around if you want with these settings, make it a bit more smooth, or keep it somewhat retro. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this one. This looks pretty cool. And before we are going to do our first tests in Godot, we're gonna make a half block first. Do that by going back to the object mode by pressing tab. Make sure to have object mode right over here. Select the cube, and while we're at it, let's delete the camera and light object. We only need the cube. Make sure to have the cube selected, move your mouse into the window and press Shift plus D. Now we have created a duplicate. Make sure to press X the moment you duplicated it, so you can move the object on the X axis. You can also press Control to make it snap. The moment you click, you have your own duplicated object clone on the left side. Let's go with lowercase. Let's call the first one cube and the second one cube underscore half. All right, let's halfen the half cube. Make sure to go into edit mode by pressing tab while selecting the right cube. Now you can select the vertex, vertice option, the first one. And make sure to select the top 4 vertex points. And right over here, we're going to change the position of these points, which is now 1 meter on the z-axis, and we're going to set it to 0. And one thing that's important to understand is that the dots in the middle of the meshes, these should be aligned. If I've went about it the other way around, let's just Ctrl Z a bit. Let's say I've picked the bottom ones and I scaled them up, just like this, and I put them on 0. Now it would just be a floating block, not a half block on the floor. So make sure to have this one aligned the way you want it. So let's put it back and change the position to 0. You could have also used the move shortcut by pressing G whenever you've got those vertex points selected, and then Z, and then you can change the dimensions and hold shift to snap to certain points. It's one way or the other, it does the same thing. The UV map doesn't look pretty anymore because it's also been shrunk down half its size. We're gonna fix that by going back to the face selection, click on the side. We're gonna unwrap it again as we did earlier in the video. And now we're gonna fix it. And we're gonna fix it the same way as we did at the start of the video. This is so pretty. All right, we've got a full block and a half block. I think we are ready to test this out in Godot. Don't you worry, we're still going to make all those variations so you can make those connected parts, you know, those seamless connected world blocks. But let's test out this one first. And while this isn't really a Blender tutorial, I can help the fact that it looks way too shiny for a grass block. Go to material, again, this one, and make the roughness go all the way up to 1. Now it's not as shiny as it was earlier. See? All right, amazing. Let's export this file so you can use it in Godot. All right, next thing might be a controversial subject. It's a hot topic. I think some Godot developers prefer to import Blender files directly because Godot is able to do that. And some rather export their 3D work to a 3D object. We're gonna do the second one in this tutorial. Click on File, Export, and we're gonna go for GLB. This is a pretty good object format that many Godot developers use. And now you've got a chance to edit a bunch of settings. We're gonna go to Transform, nope, not Transform, Data, Material, nope, not Material, Mesh, it's gonna be Mesh, 3 times the charm, and select Apply Modifiers. In this case, the modifier that we use to bevel the cube also gets applied into the object that we are just about to export. Click on Export. I'm assuming that you already know how to create a project. If not, go and watch this video that I will link somewhere. Here we are. An empty project, and we don't see the object in my project just yet. And that's probably because the Godot project is in a separate folder. Make sure to select the texture and also the GLB that we just exported. And I'm just going to make a copy. I'm going to paste it in the root. Once again, make sure to apply good folder structures in your own project. But for the sake of this tutorial, the object is now in my project. It just auto imports it. If you double click on the object, you're going to see a nice little preview. Click close, and now we are going to create a scene, a Godot scene from this GLB object. Press right mouse button and go to New Inherited Scene. We are going to save this scene, and let's practice what we preach. Make a folder called Scenes, and just let's call it Blocks. And let's put the GLB related files in a folder called GLB, which you can do at any time in Godot, which is super nice. Let's continue by creating a main scene that we're going to use to add a GridMap to. Click right mouse button on Scenes, select Create New Scene and call it Main. Click 3D Scene and press OK. Let's add a camera to the scene so we can actually view in-game what we are doing. And this is where it starts to get interesting. We're going to add a grid map to the scene. Click. Amazing. We've got ourselves a grid map. The grid map needs a mesh library so we can select different meshes from this little window. To create a mesh library, we're going to go back to the blocks scene. And when you've got your blocks scene open, click on Scene and select Export As and select Mesh Library. It's basically exactly what it is. It's a library of the different meshes that are in this scene. Mesh library. And I'm gonna call it blocks mesh lib. Let's be creative. Go back to the main scene, and now we're gonna drag and drop the trace file into the mesh library. As you can see right here, we have nice little previews of the mesh library. Amazing. You created your grid map with your custom-made mesh library, your own little map system. If you hold Control and then scroll with your mouse, you can go levels up, you can go levels down, You can create your own little level. You can also erase certain blocks, just like this. And you can also rotate the objects with A and S. See? Make sure to hover over these icons over here to learn about the shortcuts. There's another thing that really works super cool. That's the selection tool, the arrow. And then with the block selected, you can fill whatever you've got selected, which looks super cool. And while we are here, let's add a player character to this scene. Go to plus, search for character body 3D, this one. Let's put it over here and add a mesh to it, mesh instance 3D. Select the pill shape, select the root again and search for collision shape 3D. We're gonna go for the pill yet again. So now we've got a character body 3D with a mesh in it and a collision that has the same shape as the mesh. Let's add a script to it so we can also move the character by clicking on the plus icon or say attach script by right mouse clicking on it. Enable the template checkbox so we have basic movement in the script from the get-go. Select create, press save. I'm so happy that they added this little preview. Such a nice quality of life improvement. I think we got that from the previous update, right? Press play, and then I'm pretty sure we're going to fall straight to the floor because we haven't added any collisions yet. I'm going to fix that in a bit. Don't you worry. This is looking so sad. Let's add a world environment as well. You know, this is not really part of the tutorial, but I just clicked on the little dots here and set apply to scene. Again, I covered that in a previous video, but now it looks all colorful. All right, we're gonna do a few more things. One thing that I noticed right away is that these blocks are way too big. I was so sure that I created 1 by 1 blocks, but these are obviously 2 by 2, which has something to do, again, this is a mistake that I always make, but the scale of the object is set to half its size. And this won't be applied whenever you export the object. And we can easily fix that by pressing Ctrl and A and then apply scale. And what it basically does is that it's going to set the scale to 1 again without changing the visible dimensions right over here. And while we are here, we're gonna apply some magic. Click on the layer and type in -col. Do the same for the half block. This is a naming convention. By adding col here, Godot knows that it's also going to add a collision shape with the same shape of the mesh. Let's test it out. We can just go to File again, export.glb. Let's go to the correct folder this time around, select GLB, select the GLB object that we're going to override, export GLB. And if we go back to Godot, nothing really has changed. It still looks exactly the same. And that's because we haven't exported a new mesh library yet from the block scene. So let's go to the block scene. And here something has changed. You can barely see it, but the collision shapes has been added automatically. You can tell by the blue lines over here. See, this is a collision shape that has been automatically added to this scene. So we're going to export this scene again, export mesh library. I usually uncheck this one. I don't want it to merge with any existing blocks. It could cause duplicates whenever you change a name. Press save, override it, go back to your main scene, and now something has changed because we made the blocks half its size. That's because the GridMap expects cells with the size of 2 by 2 by 2. So let's change that by 1 by 1 by 1. Great. And press play. And now we should have collision. It's looking so pretty. Look at that. Super cool. IGN 10 out of 10. Publish it to Steam already. Whee! All right, before we end the video, we want to make it look a bit more unified, so the different blocks are glued together as one piece of platform. And for that, we need some variations in Blender. So let's go to Blender. Over here, Let's select the main block in the center yet again. Press Shift D to make a duplicate. Then press X so we can move it on the X axis and make a clone. We're gonna call this one cube corner dot col. Press Tab so we go into edit mode. Make sure to have the face selected over here. Press the side one, and then we're just simply going to press delete and select face. And let's also delete this one. Let's delete the bottom as well. So now we've got a corner shape. Let's select the main cube again. Press Shift D yet again to duplicate. Press X to put one over here. This time around, we're just going to delete these sides. This one, the bottom, this one, and I think this one. Yep. Let's call it side.col. Let's select the main one again. Press Shift D, X, put it over here. And now we're going to delete all the different sides except the top one. And we're just going to call this one cube top/col. And now I'm pretty sure that this is it. You can do the same for the half blocks, but for the sake of the duration of this video, we're only going to do the full blocks. Let's go to export yet again, export to GLB and overwrite the existing object. Go back to Godot, go to blocks, and here they are, so pretty. And all the collision shapes are yet again automatically created because we added the -col to the name of the layer. Go to scene, select export, mesh library, override the existing mesh library. And now when you go back to your main scene, you've got way more blocks to play with. Let's delete a bunch of blocks over here, and only the blocks in the active layer got deleted. So hold Control and scroll. And now we can create new blocks. Let's select the corner, like this, the side, and again with S, I'm rotating the mesh to the corner again. Let's put the side over here. Yep. And the top. Isn't that looking cool? And you know, let's just add some of those half blocks. We made them for a reason. I will replace the corner one with a full block, you know? Whee! Isn't that looking so cool? Before we end the video, I'm going to give you a few bonus tips. Also something I just thought about, I forgot to mention earlier. You can also use col only as the name convention thingy. This will make it so that this object will just become a collision shape. So it won't make an extra clone of the collision, it will just be a clone. I'm pretty sure you will also lose the texture that way. And why would you want to do something crazy like that, you may ask? Yeah, it's pretty simple. Sometimes you want to have more simplified collision shapes. You want to create a collision shape that doesn't have the bevel. And another bonus tip is to check out whether the texture has been imported correctly, because sometimes they can look a bit blurry. And that has everything to do with compression and the way you import textures. And one way to do it is to just select the texture, go to import, and in this case select lossless and re-import. Alright, and that's it for the video. I hope this was helpful to you. While I'm not really the 3D Blender UV map expert, I do think that this video could be helpful for a fellow Godot beginner. If you got some 3D and Blender tips for me, make sure to share them. Be nice though, because I'm a train wreck, super fragile, I get hurt easily. In the next video, we're gonna add a enemy NPC. It's gonna roam in the world and it's gonna have this navigation mesh applied to it. It's basically pathfinding. And in the third video, we're gonna apply some player detection to it. So whenever it sees you, it's gonna follow you, do something nice when it gets close. It's gonna be super awesome. So make sure to subscribe, like, and say something nice in the comment section. And I see you guys around in the next video or stream. Bye bye.